The burial takes longer than anyone expects. Not because the ground is hard, but because no one knows what words to say anymore. There are no traditions left that fit this moment. No crowd, no comfort. Just 9 people standing around a grave, realizing this is how every funeral might look from now on. One of you finally speaks. Not a prayer, not a speech, just a quiet sentence. We can't lose anyone else. Everyone nods, but nobody believes it. From that day on, fear becomes the invisible leader of the group. You move away from cities, deeper into quieter land, choosing a place that once was a small farming town. Fields, fresh water, fewer risks. It feels safer, but safety now is an illusion held together by hope and duct tape. Life reorganizes itself around survival. Food becomes currency. Knowledge becomes power. The engineer teaches how to keep generators alive a little longer. The farmer becomes invaluable. The doctor is suddenly the most feared person, not because of authority, but because everyone knows that if they fail, the cost is irreversible. The child watches everything. They don't fully understand extinction, but they understand loss. They ask questions that freeze adults in place. Will there ever be more people? Who will I grow up with? Will I be alone again? No one answers honestly. Nights are the worst. Without artificial light, darkness swallows the world whole. Fires crackle. Shadows stretch. Old buildings creak like they're breathing. Sleep comes in fragments. Some people start talking in their sleep. Some stop sleeping entirely. That's when paranoia creeps in. Someone starts locking doors. Someone else begins hiding supplies. Trust, once automatic now, has to be earned every single day. A simple cough makes everyone uneasy. A small cut sends panic through the group. Every body becomes fragile glass. Then comes the argument. It starts small. It always does. Who gets the antibiotics? Who gets the warmest shelter? Who gets to decide relationships? Because the unspoken rule has finally surfaced. Humanity needs children. The pressure becomes unbearable. Romantic choices are no longer private. Age, health, genetics all discussed openly, coldly, like numbers on a chart. Some agree, some resist. One person outright refuses, saying they won't bring a child into a dead world. That refusal divides the group. Is it selfish or merciful? Tension turns sharp. Voices rise. Accusations spill out, told resentments, buried fears, survivor's guilt. Someone shouts that maybe humanity deserves to end. Someone else responds with a slap that echoes across the empty fields. After that, nothing feels the same. One night, someone disappears. No note, no sound, just an empty sleeping space and footprints leading into the dark. A search begins at sunrise, desperate and frantic. Hours pass, then days. They are never found. 8, no body, no closure. Just another reminder that the world doesn't care about plans. The loss changes the group again, hardening some, breaking others. Rules are created. Movement is tracked. Weapons are kept close, not for animals, but for each other. The idea is horrifying, yet no one argues. Civilization didn't end in fire. It ended in mistrust. Seasons pass. Crops grow. Animals are hunted. Skills improve. Survival becomes routine. But joy does not return. Laughter feels wrong, like disrespecting the dead. The child grows quieter, absorbing a world where hope is rationed. Then something unexpected happens. A pregnancy. The news hits like lightning. Some cry with happiness. Some with fear. Some say nothing at all. The future suddenly feels real and terrifying. Every risk becomes magnified. The pregnant person becomes the most protected and most controlled human on Earth. Arguments explode again. What if the baby dies? What if the parent dies? What if the child grows up alone, anyway? But the pregnancy continues. Months later, during a violent storm, the child is born. The power is out. Rain floods the fields. The doctor works by firelight, hands shaking, knowing this moment might decide everything. When the baby cries, the sound is small, but it fills the world. For the first time in months, people smile without forcing it. Humanity has a future again. But hope is fragile. A baby gets sick, a fever, then coughing, then silence that lasts a little too long. The doctor fights with everything they have, but modern medicine died with the world. What remains is guesswork and prayer. The baby survives, barely. The relief is overwhelming, but it comes with a realization no one wants to say out loud. If this child dies, humanity doesn't just lose one life, it loses meaning. The weight of that knowledge presses down on everyone. The child grows into a symbol rather than a person. Watched, protected, smothered. Childhood becomes impossible when you're the last hope of an entire species. Years pass. The baby becomes a child. The child becomes aware. They understand now. They know what they represent. And that knowledge shapes them into something different, something older than their age. One night they ask a question that freezes the group completely. What if I don't want this? No one answers, because for the first time since the world ended, the question isn't about survival, it's about choice, and whether humanity has the right to continue. If it must be forced to exist, the fire crackles, the world listens. And somewhere in the dark, extinction waits patiently, ready for the smallest mistake. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the noise is gone. No engines, no horns, no distant hum of cities breathing. Just wind and silence so deep it feels loud. At first, you think it's a power outage, maybe a sporadic. You reach for your phono signal. You step outside expecting neighbors, traffic, something, but the street is frozen like a photograph taken after the world died. Cars sit abandoned in the middle of the road. Doors are open. A stroller is tipped on its side. Food rots quietly inside a supermarket with its lights still on, running on backup generators that won't last long. You shout. Your voice echoes back at you, unchanged, untouched by another human voice. That's when the truth hits, not all at once, but like cold water slowly filling your lungs. Almost everyone is gone. Across the entire planet, only 10 people are still alive. You don't know that number yet. All you know is that something impossible has happened, and you're standing inside it. For days, you move like a ghost through empty places. You search houses, hospitals, police stations. There are signs of struggle in some places, none in others. It's as if humanity simply stepped out of reality. Planes are crashed into fields. Ships drift unmanned toward shores. Animals roam cities, confused but free. Dogs wait beside owners who will never wake up again. At night, sleep becomes dangerous. Every sound feels like a threat. Every shadow looks alive. Your brain, evolved for social survival, begins to turn on itself. Loneliness stops being an emotion and becomes a physical pain, like hunger or thirst. Then, one evening, a miracle. A radio crackles. Static at first, then a voice weak, shaking, unmistakably human. Hello, if anyone can hear this, please respond. You cry, you laugh. Your hands shake so badly you almost drop the radio. You respond, barely able to speak. Within hours, more voices join in. Different accents, different languages, different stories, but the same shock, the same fear. 10 people. That's the number you eventually piece together. 10 survivors scattered across continents. A doctor, an engineer, a soldier, a child. People who, days ago, were insignificant dots in a population of 8 billion. Now, each one of you represents 10% of humanity. The realization is crushing. You begin to plan. The first question is obvious. Should you stay apart or come together? Logic says gathering increases survival chances. Emotion says being alone is already killing you. Eventually, you agree to meet. The journey is terrifying. Without maintenance, roads decay fast. Fires burn unchecked. Nuclear plants sit on countdowns with no workers. One wrong move could end the species forever. You travel using maps, scavenged fuel, bicycles, sometimes just your feet. Along the way, the world feels ancient, again like you've stepped backward thousands of years in time. When you finally meet, it doesn't feel like hope. It feels awkward, heavy, almost uncomfortable. 10 strangers stand in a ruined airport terminal, staring at each other, realizing that every argument, every mistake, every emotional wound now matters more than ever before. You aren't just people anymore. You are humanity's last experiment. At first, things go well. You share food, skills, stories of how you survived. Some laugh, some cry. One person barely speaks at all. The child clings to the nearest adult, eyes wide, absorbing trauma that will shape their entire life. But cracks appear quickly. Someone wants leadership. Someone resists authority. Old beliefs clash. Religion resurfaces. So does science. Arguments that once filled comment sections now happen face to face, with no crowd to hide behind. Every disagreement feels existential, because it is. Who decides where you live? Who decides who has children with whom? Who decides what the future looks like? Because reproduction is no longer a personal choice, it's a responsibility forced upon you by extinction. That truth poisons relationships. Romance becomes strategic. Attraction becomes complicated. Rejection feels catastrophic. Jealousy turns dangerous. Every emotional conflict carries the weight of the species. The pressure breaks people in quiet ways. Nightmares become common. So does guilt for surviving, when billions didn't. One person suggests returning to old cities and preserving knowledge. Another argues it's pointless without infrastructure. Someone else believes humanity had its chance and shouldn't restart at all. The idea horrifies some and secretly comforts others. Weeks pass, power grids fail. Satellites fall silent. The internet becomes a fossil. The world shrinks fast. Seasons return, as rulers again. You learn to fear winter. You learn that modern medicine without factories is just theory. A simple infection becomes a possible extinction-level event. One night, a fire breaks out. It spreads faster than expected. Panic explodes. In the chaos, one person is badly injured. There's blood. Screaming. Helplessness. The doctor does everything they can, but without supplies, without backup, it isn't enough. By morning, humanity is down to 9. No one speaks. That's when it finally becomes clear. Surviving the apocalypse was the easy part. Living with the consequences is harder. The silence returns, but now it's heavier, because it's shared. And deep down, each of you wonders the same terrifying question. If 10 people couldn't save the world, what chance do 9 have? End of part 1, say part 2, and I'll continue the story darker, more psychological, and more intense.